Is there anything else I'd rather test? Probably not. Most of these look pretty not great. Yeah, not really anything different. Mike the Hunter, yeah. I ran Egon through a couple leagues like yesterday and the day before just to see what happened. And I was only running one copy then and just wasn't seeing it that often. So I haven't had a really good chance to evaluate it. I've played it as the artifact side a couple times, and it was alright. Any time that I've had it in my hand, I had another threat, so I didn't need to play it out. But we'll see what happens. As for Saw It Coming, I can't decide where I want this in the deck if I want to try it out. Like, the obvious slot would be over, like, Drown in the Lock. But I've been liking the second Drown in the Lock when I cut the fourth Fatal Push. So maybe that slot is, like, Egon or Saw It Coming. There's not really room for both. Could trim Aether Gust because I still don't like that card. Drown is an amazing flex card. Like, I don't know why people hate on that card so much. I feel like it doesn't get nearly the respect it deserves. Like, I do get that sometimes they don't have the biggest graveyard in the world, but if you're Inquisitioning, Thought Seizing, countering their spells, killing their creatures, like, Drown on 2 and 3 is typically like the floor of the card. And then once you get up to like Titan decks, you can always Thought Scour them. Like, you basically never want to point the first Thought Scour at them, but second or third or Snap Scour them is a very good way to get up to countering a Titan mana. So for everybody jumping in, we've got a modern preliminary kicking off in 17 minutes. So we're waiting on that to start. We're going to be trying out a copy of Egon, God of Death in the main. Let's get this preview pane up. That's so small. How are we going to do this? There. Egon, God of Death. So, the appeal of the card. First of all, on its front half, 2 and a black, 6/6, Death Touch. Death Touch doesn't really matter. Just the fact that it's 3 mana for a creature that is ferocious. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile 2 cards from your graveyard. If you can't, sack it and draw a card. So, with our deck, we should be getting fetch lands, hand disruption, removal, counter spells in our graveyard. We've got Thought Scour. And typically something like this, you're not going to need to stay on the battlefield for too terribly long before it's closing out the game. So, hopefully, if this is killing your opponent in 3 turns, it's kind of the same graveyard requirements as casting a Gurmag Angler. The flip side of it, Throne of Death, 1 black for an artifact. At the beginning of your upkeep, mill a card, so it fuels your graveyard for Snapcasters, Gurmag Anglers, blah, blah, blah. And then 2 and a black, tap it, exile a creature from your graveyard, draw a card. So exile Street Wraiths that you flipped over, Shadows, Snapcaster, Gurmag, whatever that you might have milled over. So we could potentially get a little bit of draw power off of that. Don't know. Haven't had a chance to try it too much, so we'll see what happens. The other card, testing out a single copy on the board, just to see if it kind of functions on curve. So saw it coming as a new counter spell from Kaldheim. 1 blue counter target spell. Cancel, not very exciting, but with Foretell, we can curve play this out and have an active counter spell later. So turn 2, if you're not doing anything or not playing out a threat, we might just foretell this later down the road. It could be cancel. It could also allow us to double spell when we're not trying to flood out on lands. Don't know how it's going to be, but we've got the card. We might as well test it, right? Matchups that I would be wanting to bring it in. Anything where I would be bringing in like counter spells as a bit of a safety net. I wonder if I want to swap the Dispute for a Second Gust. Just because of the Tybalt's Trickery deck being everywhere. Probably do. Let's do that. Leave. Have to do this so I can adjust my deck and resubmit. Alright. So, matchups where I want that counter spell. Tron, Eldrazi Tron, the Tybalt's Trickery deck, any sort of combo deck like Oops All Spells, Charbelcher. It also functions a little bit better in like the Thoughtseize matchups because I can always foretell it, save it for a later turn, protect it from hand disruption. So, we'll see if it comes up. I've played a couple leagues now with Egon and haven't cast the front half of it because every time that I've been in a situation where I drew it and I could cast it, I had another threat out, so I just didn't need to. And I've cast the artifact side of it, I think, twice. And I don't think either game went long enough for me to start exiling cards to draw. But the mill part actually came up against, I think, Rakdos mid-range. I was able to start milling myself and get a a second Gurmag Angler out, which I wouldn't have been able to do otherwise. Saw it coming. I have never cast outside of Limited. So that one, no clue how it's going to be. So let's update Stream Decker. So today, the 1st of the month is Pedro and Paulo. How's it going? Hope both of y'all are off to a fantastic February 1st. Egon, Luris, Unearthed Shadow could be a little spicy. It could be. Just like get a little value engine of milling yourself with Throne of Death. Luris to buy stuff back. Unearth to get stuff that you flip over. Maybe that's something we need to think about trying out. Like, what if we did a Traverse Shadow build with Shadows, Goyfs, Egon, Luris, like 2 or 3 copies of Luris, Unearth, I'll have to think about that one. Alright, Grixis. I'm uploading the deck list right now. Alright. Should be updated now. Bam. Gotcha. It would basically be Gurmagless. Yeah. I mean, it depends on if you were planning more on, like, playing Egon as a threat more often. Double card needs special shield to play in paper. It depends on your sleeves. So, let's see if I've got any sleeves sitting around right here. Might have a couple. Alright. So, like your typical black sleeves, you don't need anything special. You can just play it as normal. But if you're playing like a lighter color sleeve, then you might need to get some sort of like a smoke back perfect fit so that it's not showing through the back. Because if you can see what the card is through the back, then that is considered cheating. So, short answer, depends on your sleeves. Long answer, if your sleeves are see-through, use a like smoke back perfect fit. If your sleeves you can't see through, then you're fine. I use smoky side loaders, really bug some people. I've got some cards up here that are in smoke perfect fits, like these, or this one's a smoke perfect fit. But I really don't use them that much. I just kind of happen to have a bunch of them. We're the sky blue dragon shields. Yeah, like all of mine, I want to say most cards I've got are in dragon shields. Yeah, like these are in purple dragon shields. Got a whole bunch of stuff in black dragon shields. Usually, like whenever I'm going to a tournament, I'll just re-sleeve everything in black so there's no issue whatsoever. Wagner, how's it going? Hope you're having a fantastic Monday so far. But I also use a lot of katana sleeves. My favorite's actually Eclipse, and I'm always mad that the corners bend so easily. What's the new black creature, you say? It is Egon, God of Death. Trying it out today to see what happens. Trying to lose on an arena draft? Well, I mean, if you're trying to lose on a draft, it feels like it shouldn't be that difficult, right? I don't even know if I have arena downloaded anymore. Like, it's been so long since I've played standard. And I usually just like draft and everything on PC. Or not on PC, on Magic Online. But I heard that Arena had come to Android, so I think if that's the case, it would be pretty sweet being able to like draft on your phone. Wagner, right, like 3 mana 6/6, and if you're assuming that once you drop this, the game's gonna end in like 3 turns, then it's basically the same grave requirements as Gurmag Angler. Gonna exile 2 for 3 turns, or 6 cards, or delve 6 with Gurmag. And if you can't pay, you get to draw a card off your Egon. Big fan of the lanterns in the sideboard over spell bombs. Yeah, like every time I take out the soul guides and put spell bombs back in, I just immediately run into ley lines. The worry is that Magic was not designed with mobile in mind. Plenty of board states which seem completely unmanageable on a phone. I agree completely. Like, there are plenty of situations, especially with cards like, what's it called? The bug, landfall makes copies of itself. That guy in Constructed especially can go pretty wide with tokens. He's a lot more vulnerable on the battlefield than Big Daddy Fish. It would suck to have someone spellbomb you when you only have Egon out. Right, which is why we are maxed out on Gurmags first. Like, we're not cutting Gurmags for Egon. And if we have something like a Gurmag out, we can always play Egon as Throne of Death. And just start refilling our graveyard and maybe get some value off the draw effect. Mystic Reflection. We were talking the math through Mystic Reflection the other day about it, and Is Mystic Reflection the right one? It's the one that people were talking about with Master of Waves, right? Yeah. You're talking about like what your devotion would have to be with Master of Waves to be able to present lethal after a Mystic Reflection. Yeah, Mystical Reflection could definitely crash a phone. I feel like it wouldn't be that difficult. The Carson chart? There's a chart about this? Well, now we gotta look it up. Goes up to 1,550 power on his top end. Good lord. Yes. Alright. So if you have 0 blue pips on the battlefield and you cast Master of Waves, you would get a master. It would make an elemental. That elemental would become a master. And it would make 2 elementals that are both 3/3s. They'd be 1/0s that get +2/+2. 1 for each Master of Waves. So yeah, that's 10 power. God. That ramps up so quickly. Alright, what do we got for round 1? Feel Egon's floor is not good enough to justify the best case scenario that is similar to a Gurmag. So what are you viewing as the floor of Egon? Because what I view as the floor of Egon and you view as the floor of Egon are sounding like 2 different things. Alright, so we're keeping... Probably just bottoming Fatal Push. In the blind, game 1. Dismember has the better chance of getting this Shadow online. It's either Fatal Push or Snapcaster. Maybe it is Snap. Overgrown Tomb Inquisition. So it could be Jund, it could be a Shadow Mirror. It's not a whole lot of Inquisition decks running around. Opponent is on a mole. I guess so are we, but we're on the draw, so that kind of mitigates our mole. You mad? Prelim just started. This is turn 1 of round 1. Viking, how's it going? My opponent and I are both on mole to 6s. We're on the draw. Love me some GDS. You and me both. I think GDS is my favorite DS. Well, eventually opponent will decide what they would like to take. Pretty good. Moved into a new house on Saturday and just got some couches delivered. Nice. New couches are amazing. Like, don't get me wrong, a good worn-in couch that has, like, your butt impression in the right spots is obviously S tier. But new couches being pretty firm, also good. It's like you got two extremes of the couch spectrum, and any time in the middle, it's awkward. But when you first get it, and when you eventually get it broken in the perfect spots, game over. Well, on the bright side, we haven't gotten our first turn yet, and we're up 4 minutes on clock. Hopefully our opponent didn't disconnect. For sure, my buddy's on the bigger side, and his worn-in couches are mad comfy. Exactly. Like, you get those springs kind of settled where they need to be. When the indentions are just like the right size to sit on and not be like falling around. It's very, very scientific couch comfort techniques. Hope our opponent doesn't time out. Maybe it's just a really tough decision. Like, do I take the threat? Do I take the removal? Do I take the second removal? Do I have the Liliana? Do I think I'm going to top deck the Liliana? So, like, if he's playing a Shadow variant, I would say take the Fatal Push. Because you're assuming that you've got answers to my Shadow or more hand disruption to take it. If he's playing Jund or like the Rock, I'd probably say take the Shadow. You don't really care if your dudes get killed and you're just going to like maximize removal versus my threats. If he is playing some weird black-green X combo deck that I've never heard of, maybe taking the Stubborn Denial's right. But I can't think of a lot of situations where you care about the stub if I don't have a creature. But like the Rock or Jund being able to take the Shadow, play around the soft stub, is a pretty solid plan. Like, maybe you want to take the Dismember to keep me from being able to cast a Shadow. If you're just assuming I'm not going to hit any other ways to lower my life total in the next couple of turns. Shadow has been taken. Do we have a time limit to do action in Magic Online? Yes. There's a time limit of, I want to say it's like 8 minutes before you time out. So it looks like it's probably like Sultai Uro. And the challenge, it's 20 minutes. Oh, man. So let's take Blood Chief's Thirst in case we draw a Gurmag Angler. Well, I guess we're going to get a chance to try it out. Opponent reading this over like, what the hell is going on? It's pretty fun to be able to bounce like Obero to turn on Revolt. I have to assume this is like Fatal Push plus a counter spell. Like Fatal Push plus Cryptic my stub or something, because he knows about my entire hand. Maybe like Push plus Archmage's Charm. Sure. Two islands. Alright. call by the home team. Don't you dare narce it. Guess that one's pretty alright too, right? We do have to decide if and how much we're playing for clock. Because, like, I don't want to play for clock. And I'm not going to try to, like, slow play to get my opponent to play for clock. But if my opponent, like, can't kill me, am I scooping because I just, like, don't have any outs? Or do I continue to play it out because we are like almost 9 minutes up on clock? Guess there's a chance they might Field of Ruin us here. Viking coming in with the tier 1 sub. Thank you so much. Welcome to the subscribers. Enjoy access to all of our sweet, sweet custom emotes. Throw some around in the chat. Appreciate the support. Stub, you're a little late to the party. Yep, you stream when I got the most time to watch, and it's always a pleasure to watch. Well, I'm glad that we can have that mutual exchange. This doesn't change the clock at all, but it does mean that if I draw a fetch land, I can crack to turn on Revolt for these pushes. So I need to target something out of my own yard. If I target something out of theirs, they can fetch up like an island in another Mystic Sanctuary and cancel out this cling. They're going to force it. Cling in response to my cling. That is okay, because now I can cling something else just to gain life. And if they want to cling this, that is okay as well. Alright, on to game 2. Which I'm okay with how that one went out. Like, we did see 3 removal spells. Which, spoiler alert, is more removal spells than we want to see in that matchup. So Dismember is bad, Battle Rage is bad, Push is bad. Gurmag's great, but it's another one of those ones you really don't want to see the second one. They've got Thoughtseize and Inquisition. Maybe Egon's a little rougher here. I could have drowned since I'm bringing in 3 Soul Guides. Oh, I'm bringing in Ashiok too, so let's just go like that. So, saying drown is bad with Lantern is, I think, misinterpreting your game plan. You're not using Drown to, like, counter a Cryptic Command or an Uro. You're using Drown to try to protect your threat. Because you've got things like Gurmag Angler that are only dying to a couple 1 and 2 mana spells. And having Drown to kill those usually doesn't matter if Lantern's on board. Like, you want your stubborn denials for, like, cryptic commands. You want Drown in the Lock for the little 1 to 2 mana things, the eliminates, and then go for the throats. To occasionally kill an Uro. Alright, what do we got? Opponent on a Mold to 6 again. Like, are we just foretelling here? Yes, we've done the thing. The foretell card is face down in exile. So the question is, cannot get a third land. Mina. That's a lot of text. We're just gonna say you got it. So what does this do? At the beginning of your upkeep, you may exile Kasima. If you do, it gains... Alright, so it's exiled. I was reading that. Come back here. If you do, it gains whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control. If it's exiled, you may put a voyage counter on it. I guess that means put a voyage counter on Kasima. If you don't, return it to the battlefield with X11 counters on it and draw X cards for X is the number of voyage counters. So you get voyage counters while it's gone. And then if you don't put a voyage counter on it, it comes back. Interesting. We're the Planeswalker deck opponent. Yeah, look at that one. I'm just going to hang on to this Shadow for a turn. Yeah, this is fine. The foretell cards. Sorry. I didn't realize it was under my face. Let's see, can we move this over slightly? Move. It's center-ish, right? I think that's about as far over as I can go. It's a little... So this just like hangs out, gets a bunch of counters, and comes back and draws that many cards later. Another Thoughtseize is a little annoying. But on the bright side, we do get to get all the Uros. We get a chunk of Uros. These are some of the cards I wanted to play test alongside the ones that make zombies. How's it going so far? So we played Egon last game, and our opponent had a removal spell for it. So not much we could do there. But it was a game that we didn't see a Shadow or a Gurmag Angler. So in that regard, it was nice. This card's been something. Like, it didn't draw into anything relevant for them. I know they can shuffle away whatever I see here. That's fine. Sunken Ruins, alright. Cling my cling. Is this worth countering? So he's got 2. Probably not. Rude. Hoping to kind of occupy some time with this Ashiok. Do you think Saw It Coming is only worth boarding in on the play? I think it's worth boarding in on the draw. Alright, what's our game plan here? Like, I think I'm just supposed to go for Snap Thoughtseize here. Like, I kind of want to maximize the chances that my K command next turn resolves. They just have second Veil of Summer. Alright. So this is a real magic card, finally. Is it gonna work? Ha 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 ha! Yeah. You activated our trap card. So I know he's got a cryptic command, so I would like to bait with Colligan's command. So we'll say, you discard a card, will return Snap. No, we'll return Gurmag. Because I want to make him counter this. And I think if we go to return a Gurmag, he's more likely to try to counter it. Or he just has multiple counters. So I know he's got Cryptic Command. They could have killed you like 10 turns ago. Could have. That they could have. Counter pickup Sanctuary, sure. This is an Uro. Drawing into a Heartless Act. Let's see, what all did we see here? We saw, or we got double Veil of Summered. We got Thoughtseize twice, plus, no, they didn't Inquisition, they just Thoughtseize twice. Drown, Fatal Push, had our Clinged. Yeah, that was rough. That was rough. Opponents have lucky draws. No, that's just like their entire deck, right? It's just all removal spells because that's what you're allowed to do with Uro. Right, like Jack said, it's just that's their entire deck is removal spells, cryptic commands, and Uros. And that's like it. Somebody said it earlier that this is like the Uro setup put together to beat aggressive creature decks. Feels like we lost as soon as you foretold and they played the God. It's possible. Like, we weren't playing around the God, right? We were playing around them just playing like Uro on turn 3 and passing. Which I don't think is wrong. Like, that God is cool, but it's way worse than actual Uro is. Just feels bad when you have the dispute. That's fair. Like, we knew we were playing Ashiok on 3. Actually, we didn't know because we didn't hit the land, right? So, I mean, it was either suspend or just, like, not doing anything there. Two Veils were kind of lucky. Well, I'm sure they board in, like, 3. Like, I think we're taking it out of proportion. Like, we're saying that our opponent got lucky or whatever for building their deck to beat aggressive creature decks, which they showed they're doing just fine. But like we're not seeing is our opponent playing against a lot of these other decks that they've given up a lot of real estate against. Like, I would like to see their matchup against, like, other Uro decks or against, well, I guess they had Force Negation, right? So it's probably not terrible against the Tibalt decks. I'd say we got lucky that they didn't draw a field, which gave us a lot of time. That's fair as well. That is fair as well. Like, game 1, we saw a bunch of cards and just couldn't find a threat outside of that Egon that got answered. Like, they did have to draw the counter spell for our Egon. Or counter spell for our Stubborn Denial. I wouldn't say I was lucky, but... They also didn't attack face 3 turns, which gave us time. Well, giving us time and giving us, like, usable time are two different things, right? Like, they weren't attacking face because they just had 2 removal spells and, like, Cryptic Command rolled up. So they didn't need to attack face. They could have. But I think one of the ways that we're able to, like, get back into the game is them not being able to use Mystic Sanctuary or get back Uro, us being able to filter our draws and set up, like, Thoughtseize into Shadow plus Stubborn Denial or something. So if they've got the answers to our threats rolled up anyway, like I don't really blame them for attacking the Planeswalkers instead. Because if they kill like Ashiok, then they always have Mystic Sanctuary as a fail-safe to like Thoughtseize and Inquisition, stuff like that. You could tell they were a little less concerned with Royal Scions, but it happens. So let's update stream title. Like, I think for the most part, we kind of did what we wanted to do that game too. Like, we just got run into by a deck that had 40 cards brought in, or 40 cards in their main and sideboard that were good against us. And can't do anything about that. But we get to regroup, come back for the next round. One match left here. So let's see. Canister lost. I think that's the only name I recognize. I wonder if anybody ever splits in these. Like, I'm thinking if you went into round 4 and both of you were 2-2, or both of you were 2-1. Like, I know you can't trade play points, so you can't split those. So, like, would it be worth it for somebody to scoop to the other? The winner trades the treasure chests, or some amount of the treasure chest, to the loser. Like, let's say one person wants the play points and one person wants the treasure chests. 150 play points for 3 chests. Is that worth it? Probably. Guess it depends on how you're speculating with treasure chests. Like, it's like a league and a half, right, of play points, but seeing as how you could actually sell the treasure chest and, like, have actual tickets off of those. It's an interesting thought. 3 treasure chests is also a gifted sub to the Control Freak channel. Ah. Alright. So what do we think we're going to run into next round? I was kind of... I played a league last night and ran into 4 out of my 5 matches were combo decks. It was like 2 Tybalt's Trickery, Ad Nauseum, an Infect, and then the last one was... What was the last one? Forgot the last one, but I went 4-1 in that league. Like, beat the 4 combo decks and lost to the other one. So if we're expecting just like a bunch of combo decks in the upcoming season, and Tybalt's Trickery stays around, then like Shadow could be in a good spot. Because you look at things like the the black-white, God, what's it called? The black-white Hammer Time deck. Like, that deck can't beat a Tybalt's Trickery, right? Outside of, like, racing and having a turn 2 kill or something. Did you see the interesting Mardu list from Jabberwocky? So, funny story about that one. I don't know if he's in the chat or not. He is. So, Kami, who is hanging out in the chat, was playing Blue-White Stoneblade and made it to top 8 of that event. And I was, like, chatting with Kami in Discord while the event was going on, watching the matches from the backseat. And he ran into Jabberwocky in the first round of top 8. And I got to see the list up close and in action. And the fact that the man is playing Lingering Souls in 2021 is such a highlight to this year already. Like, we spent all of 2020 on lockdown and quarantine, and we're coming out into 2021 blazing with Lingering Souls. And I love it. Oh, we're up against Canister. So I think Canister's been playing a lot of the Tybalt's Trickery deck recently. So we'll see how this goes. In the meantime, I'm going to try to find the top 8 from the challenge. So that's Modern. Or that was the Legacy Challenge. So let's find Modern Challenge results. So yeah. Kami here, I was watching play. Then here's Jabberwocky's list. Four Shadow, 4 Sculler, 2 Croxa, 4 Inquisition, 4 Thoughtseize, 4 Souls. I would like to know what kind of meta he was trying to attack with 4 copies of Lingering Souls. Because, like, I can't imagine the card is good against, like, the Uro decks. Three Containment Priest. 2 EE, Luris, Terminate, Wear and Tear. Yeah, like, I just have no idea what he's trying to attack here. Obviously, it worked. So, major props for that. Boils can be a win. They can be. Thought Scour. So he is on a Spirit Guide build. That's a really good pickup. Alright, so we're just passing here. Next turn, we'll play out a Shadow with the Hard Stubborn Denial back up. The idea is that we just don't want to tap down off of counter magic because they do have instant speed cascade effects in their deck. So Thoughtseize for the information. Take whatever. Battle Rage, Shadow, and attack. Alright. So we get to get all of this really bad removal out post board. Aether Gust is great for trickery. Mystical Dispute's okay. Saw It Coming's okay. Probably one of these. I think we just bring in a Royal Scions. Alright. Sad about Thoughtseize in the stream. I mean, you have to kind of expect it out of a lot of decks, right? Don't think I want a Royal Scions right now. And he's got the Retrace one too. Alright. So here we're definitely just getting a Gurmag down. Alright. No, it's still going on. What was that from? Alright, so Emrakul off the top means we can Thoughtseize into this Throes of Chaos. Hopefully get to just go ahead and Cling to Dust it. Ugh. So having Trickery means we need to upkeep Cling. Alright, and then I think with Battle Rage plus Stub, we should be smooth sailing from here. I think I'm just not going to go for the Battle Rage and hold up the double counterspell. Just for the fact that, like, we're winning this big time with just these two. Alright. Just going to show them what this deck makes for combo decks. So let's pull up. We'll see what's going on over on his stream. See if he says anything. We've got nothing so far. He's giving me no acknowledgement. No. You missed my message. All right, let's go back to Jabberwockies. Wagner, what happened? Did I win? It's fast. Yes. We played against the Tybalt's Trickery deck, and we 2-0'd Canister pretty quick. I think that's, like, probably close to our best matchup in Modern right now. Alright, So, four like some of the things that I was looking at in the Reddit post that was commenting on this deck were like, there's no Scourges, there's no Battle Rages. Like, this is the fairest of the fair when it comes to Shadow decks. If we can consider it a Shadow deck. I guess we can. We've got bunch of fetches, shocks, Thoughtseize. Yeah, definitely a Shadow deck. Well, but we don't have Wraith. So, I would almost consider this like more Scourgeless Scourge than Shadow. I don't know what the consensus opinion is, but that's what I'm going with. Scourgeless Scourge. Just the Mardu Triome. Yeah. I don't know. Like, it's not the kind of deck I would play, but I mean, it top 8'd the challenge, so we can't really say it's wrong, can we? Oh, Mazu. I found comments. I know I saw Mazu in the chat earlier. Found Kami comments. All right, let's brew for a second while this is going. Or what are the? Am I getting online packs for? What do we got? Vindicate, Endbringer, Rakshasa Vizier. All right, so we were gonna look at. What were we looking at? I don't know what we're looking at. Oh, I wanted to take a look at the 2-drop, the new 2-drop. Marty List loses so easy against combo. It's possible. Probably. Where are you? This guy. They had 12 discard in the main. They did have 12 discard in the main. But with like Lingering Souls and no Street Wraith for your Shadow, like you're not putting on a ridiculously fast clock. Alright. So I want to brew up a Shadow list with this dude. It's, I guess I can't really keep him on screen while we go. So let's take something like 4-color. Maybe better to do like Jund. So let's take Jund. We'll open a new copy. What's the name of this dude? Blood Sky. I think I picked up a couple copies the other day. Yeah. Alright, so let's trim some of the excess. So the idea behind the Berserker is it pairs really well with, like, Mishra's Bauble. I wonder if this needs to be in Grixis instead. Where we've got, like, Thought Scour and Gurmag Angler as 2 cards we can play together. Or Bauble plus Thoughtseize, something like that. Maybe this guy does just fit into Grixis better. It's like having him alongside Tarmogoyf is a little awkward. Sprite Dragon 2, make it a Lurrus deck. Let's see. So Grixis, what are we calling it? Double Spell Edition deal. And we're gonna throw it on the front of it. Is there anybody we haven't used a lot? We have a Ral. We do have a Ral. How is Ral on Mardu? Somebody's busting up this color pie so bad. Alright, sure. Mutagenic Growth, Gut Shot, and stuff. Let's see what we're looking like first. So we need a Lurrus for the board. If we are making it a Lurrus deck. We know we're gonna have four baubles. Death Shadow. And we're gonna have 4 shadows. Let's see. Kind of thinking about what spots we want to fill first. Yeah, we're gonna have 4 Thoughtseize. Don't know how many Inquisitions. Let's just like say 2 to start off. We're just thinking out loud right now. Nothing is set in stone. Let's see, so maybe main deck 0 mana exile. You mean Surgical Extraction? Oh, you mean Tormod's Crypt. let's just kind of like take a look at where we're at. Where's the good swamp? There. Alright, so first thoughts, just looking at this general shell, is Sprite Dragon kind of sticks out awkwardly. I was like, we need red-blue on turn 2 in our deck that like really wants access to black heavily. Yeah. Alright, so be careful here, because it looks like you're trying to go too far in on the, oh, this synergizes with Luris, so we need to play it line. And cards like Seal of Fire and Tormod's Crypt like do synergize with Luris, but they're also just like not great cards on their own. So if you're playing them just because they synergize with Luris, like you can do that. Just we've got to make it clear and understand that like they do take a big step back from actual playable cards. So you're kind of like saying, I'm going to play Seal of Fire. I'm going to play a worse Lightning Bolt because it synergizes with Luris. Scourge, Soulstar, or Soulscar, Swift Spear. So if we go all in on like Scourge, Swift Spear, Bomat Courier, then there's really not a reason to play like Berserker. We're just playing Rakdos at that point, right? Might as well pick up a red-black Shadow deck and cut a few cards. Exactly. Like, if we want to play Shadow with Blood Sky, we need a reason to play Blood Sky. So, like, my thought here, and the reason I think the card is interesting, is I imagine, like, turn 2, Blood Sky plus a free spell. A Mishra's Bauble, something, and then turn 2 or turn 3, like Thoughtseize plus Shadow, or push your guy Inquisition, and now your Blood Sky is a 5/5. You could also go like turn 2 Blood Sky, turn 3 Thought Scour yourself, Gurmag Angler, attack for 3. But if you've got Thought Scour and Gurmag, there's not really a reason to play a Berserker on 2, right? And you could just Gurmag. And you don't want to be holding up your baubles. Like, you don't want to have a bauble in your opening hand and no Berserker, and hold that bauble in hand in the hopes that you draw a Berserker on turn 1 or 2. So yeah, I think the Blood Sky is probably not going to work out. Like the S tier level scenarios are pretty cool, but everything else is pretty bad. Because like Blood Sky into mutagenic growth, your Blood Sky to get the counters, that's bad. Blood Sky into surgical, you don't know if there's going to be targets. So that's kind of like playing Scourge without aggressive one drops. Blood Sky into. Like, Blood Sky into Baubles, like, as good as it's getting, right? Let's see. Y'all think about it. I'm going to run get some water real quick. All right. Did y'all build the deck for me? See, I don't know. Prowess creatures seem cool because they incentivize you to play more than one spell per turn, or more cantrips. Serum Visions, opt. Grixis is too reactive to benefit a card like Berserker. House of Mana, you there, Shadow Gamer? Why is Grixis all of a sudden so popular? First of all, I love the you there, Shadow Gamer. But yeah, it's Grixis has historically been like the best Shadow variant versus combo. Getting access to like the full playset of Stubborn Denial, Snapcaster Mage, Drown in the Lock, Gurmag Angler plus Hold Up, Stubborn Denial, Shadow plus Hold Up Stub. Just means that like the majority of combo decks are kind of like a buy for you. And since like Ad Nauseum's on the rise right now, the Tybalt's Trickery deck is everywhere. You just get a whole lot of free wins. Like I was telling chat earlier, I played in a league last night where I played against two Tybalt's Trickery decks, Infect, Ad Nauseum, and a fifth that I can't remember. And it was like the quickest 4-1 of my life. Because like 4 of my matches were literally buys. And then the fifth one, I don't even remember. Like, I'm pretty sure I mulled to 5 like 7 or 8 times in this league and still just like didn't have an issue. But that's the big reason. It's just combo's been on the rise. Kind of like saying, all right, I'm going to take a little bit of a downturn against the Uro decks and take a big tick up in the decks that like beat Uro. Tracking my matches with Trickery, and I expect to see a lot of Grixis. Yeah, I have not lost a match against Trickery yet. Like, we just beat Canister in the prelim on Trickery 2-0 pretty handily. Like, I think I've only lost maybe 2 games against Trickery in, like, about a dozen or so matches with Grixis. When's Uro going to be banned? Good question. I was talking about it with Kami. I don't think that Uro's going to be banned until Paper Magic's back up. And I doubt it'll be Uro first. I think it'll be Field of the Dead before Uro. What's the new 3 CMC card? Do you mean this new 3 CMC card or this new 3 CMC card? So, Egon, let's get our display pane up here again. Egon, 2 and a black, 6/6. Yeah, 6/6 with Death Touch. The idea here is the floor on the card is play it face down as a 1-mana artifact that mills yourself every turn. Eventually, you can start exiling like Street Wraiths or extra creatures in your yard to draw cards. The upside is a 3-mana 6/6 that hopefully is closing out the game in about the same amount of resource time that it would take to cast a Gurmag Angler. So you cast an Egon on 3, you're hitting for 18 on turn 5, turn 6, and you've exiled 6 cards out of your graveyard, where Gurmag Angler, you're playing on turn 2, exiling 6 cards, and hopefully hitting for 20 on turn 6. So it's comparable damage-wise. Anybody in here play Arena? Wonder if my arena download finished. Looks like it did. There. Does this show up? It doesn't. Maybe this is my password. I don't know. It's been so long since I've logged into Arena. Want some codes? I'll take a code. I'm not gonna tell you where to send your codes. I would say give them out to the people that play more Arena than I do. It's like this is the first time I've logged into Arena in months. Actually, I think I have logged into Arena another time. I think I logged in when the Rogues deck started getting popular. So I was like, oh yeah, I'll build that. Just drop them in Canister's chat. I would say do that. Canister's chat's going to play a bunch. That's what we should have done, is like a Kaldheim draft between leagues, or between matches. I think Canister's chat needs to pick me up after we played. They were pretty distraught. Where's my... Alright, so it is... Got it. Just hidden window. Actualize record. Got it. So let's keep, let's take a little more look at the challenge results from Saturday. Haven't looked at all these. So, this is just Bant Uro. Or no, this is like the blue-green Titan deck with Uro and Primeval Titan. They just jammed a bunch of Teferis in here. Teferis in Path. And we've got Bant Ephemerate. Or no, this is Abzan Ephemerate. Oh yeah, I remember Kami playing against this guy. Jabberwocky. Spirits. Heliod. Who's this? Just Jun Shadow? Actual factual Jun Shadow? There's 4-color. Didn't even notice the stubborn denials. 0 nurturing peat lands, going up on fetch lands instead. And a Tarfire. Ugh, the Tarfire. I'm taking after Bench's list, which explains the up count on fetches, especially the green fetches, to make sure you can get your basic forest. And pretty close to Bench's list. And there's Kami on blue-white Stoneblade. This is blue-white Miracles. More spirits. humans. So return of the Aether Vial decks. 2 humans. Little hammer time. 3 humans. Ugh. Like, I get it if combo's a big thing and, like, the Tybalt's Trickery deck is taking off, then Meddling Mage is a really good place to be. That and, like, Thalia kind of shut those decks down, right? Got Rakdos. Young Pyromancer. This is like Delverless Delver. Four-color Uro. Or no, this is... Yeah, this is the Teamer Giant deck. Little Adnaz. Tybalt's Trickery. It's gotta feel so bad to, like, Trickery into a Simian Spirit Guide here. Young Pyro in 2021, lovely. We've seen Young Pyro, we've seen Lingering Souls in 2021. Like, this is the year of getting back to Magic's roots, right? Underworld Breach. So Jund Scourge with Brennan 6. Prowess, Heliod. As Foretold. Is this Mono Green Devotion? Search of Greatness. That's the 2-mana enchantment, right? That you get to, like, pod something away each turn. I know, you get to cast something from your hand. So you could leyline into an Elder Gargaroth. Or like Visionaries. Visionaries turn into Karns. Or you can leyline into a Nissa. That was our matchup. Alright. What do we got, deck? We've got a bad hand. Don't think we can keep this one either. Alright. Yep. So what does Swamp Thoughtseize tell us? Maybe we're against 8-rack. Cab's Kind, how's it going? Afternoon to you as well. Well, afternoon for you. I don't think it's afternoon for me yet. Could be. It's not. 10:30 in the morning. Is this Jund? Got some catching up to do. A little behind. Just a tiny bit. All good here. Just ready for some lovely Grixis Shadow action. You and me both. Alright. So I think we're just playing out Shadow here. Like, if opponents got it all, they've got it all. And we can't do a whole lot. So if they go, like, end of turn, fatal push, untap, play Liliana, we weren't winning this game anyway. Because, like, let's say we don't play out the Shadow here, and we pass the turn, and our opponent goes, like, untap, Liliana, Edict your Shadow. Or no, they would just play Liliana, tick up. We'd discard, like, Island, go to our turn, play Shadow plus Gurmag, pass back. They fatal push the Gurmag, Edict our Shadow. We're kind of dead in the water. If we play out Shadow and they don't have one of those pieces, like they don't have fatal push, and they just have to Liliana Edict, then we get to play Gurmag next turn. If they don't have the Liliana, then they get to kill the Shadow, and we get to carry on with our day. So, if they've got the thing that punishes us, they would have the thing that punishes us regardless of what happens this turn. If they don't have the thing that punishes us, which is both the bolt and the, or the foot push and the Liliana, you get what I'm saying, I think. Alright. So I always say don't play your bauble on your turn in the hand disruption mirrors. But I'm going to play my bauble on my turn in the hand disruption mirror because I want to pay 1 mana for this Gurmag Angler and keep the island in the hand to discard the Liliana. Any idea what won the Modern Challenge yesterday? I do not know. Good call. It was a fortunate call there. So the hope is the opponent will just play Tarmogoyf, but it doesn't look like we're going to be so lucky. I said just Tarmogoyf. Only Tarmogoyf. Alright. So we do need to kill something. Fatal push off the top. We'll also accept Shadow or... I don't have any K commands in the main. If you give me a second, I can look up... Well, I don't know if the Modern Challenge from yesterday would be posted yet. Thoughtseize. So let's attack it, Lily. Assuming our opponent's blocking with Bloodbraid. Thoughtseize, take this Tarmogoyf. And then if opponent edicts our Tarmogoyf, or edicts our Gurmag Angler, we at least untap with an open board. Like, they attack us with a Ravager. We get a draw step to try to find something to fight the Ravager. Jun Shadow won the challenge, lost to him in top 8. Did we just look at that? Or no, we looked at... Yeah, there's a Jun Shadow that was pretty high up in Saturday's challenge, but we didn't see it on Sundays. So there you go, Cavs Kind. Apparently Jun Shadow. Right, so Stubborn Denial doesn't do anything for us. I'm not concerned with fetching up a basic there to hold up like Snapcaster plus something. Because we do just like not have the ability to do anything with the plus something. Alright. So good old like traditional Jun day. So, K Thanikit, no idea if I'm saying it right. You're going to have to correct me. What were you playing in the challenge? Also, thank you for the follow. Thank you, Miro Maxic, as well for the follow. Hope both of you are having fantastic Monday morning, evenings, or afternoons, wherever you're at in the world. Is it Blitz? Good choice, good choice. We've been on a bit of a losing streak against that deck recently. Your opponent's playing so slow in the prelim. We're not up against you, are we? Alright. Turn 2 Gurmag against Jund is really, really solid. Especially when we can follow it up with some grindy pieces like Scions and K-Command. The only way I'd say this hand would be better is if it had a Stubborn Denial instead of like... Maybe instead of the K-Command, actually. So that we could have like a turn 1 protected play. Like if they go Thoughtseize here, then I can't get down my Gurmag unprotected. Or I can't get down my Gurmag, period. So that would have been like a very easy way for us to go from riding high to down in the dumps. So best draws here would be like Thoughtseize. Bobble's not terrible. I can scry with my Bobble. Probably should. So, if I don't play out the Bobble here, and I just fetch Shock the Polluted Delta, play the Gurmag, I lose my ability to scry with the Bobble anyway. So even though this could be drawing a card into my opponent's hand disruption, I at least get the value of the scry. So I'm deciding to take the risk to get the scribe more than I am skipping over the scry for the optimal not drawing into their hand disruption. Thoughtseize. I don't think I want Thoughtseize. Like, I'm going to be doing stuff with my mana kind of from this point on. Alright. Do we want to leave what? Like, we could K-command back Egon. Is that better? Probably not. We're not K-commanding back Egon, right? Like, with the second Gurmag Angler in hand, we're just, like, never going to have a functional graveyard. Might just give him the win. Cycle Forgotten Cave. Sure. Now, hopefully we can get the Scions down and start flipping away some cards we don't need. So discarding the land because it doesn't grow the Tarmogoyf. Alright, so them not having an answer there to Gurmag Angler is pretty big. So let's go Thoughtseize you. See what's up. Probably just have like a handful of Bloodbraid Elves. His slow play is tilting me. Well, that's why there's two sides of the clock, right? Like, if they choose to time out, then that's kind of their prerogative. Just joined the limited prelim. Good luck in the prelim. Appreciate it. Good luck to you as well. Thanks for stopping by and hanging out. Alright. So we did have them dead to like a burnout K-command there. Don't think we're... I guess Saw It Coming's a little bit less exciting on the draw. Go like that. What do we got for game 3? Jeff Jace, how have Egon and Coming performed so far? We've seen Egon once. We did see it when we didn't have a Gurmag Angler or a Shadow. We played it out on like a turn 4 with a Stubborn Denial backup. Our opponent had a fatal push that we knew about. We got to stub the push, but they blind drew into a Force of Negation. So it kind of acted like a 5th Death Shadow in that situation. Like our opponent would have been able to answer it anyway. Other than that, we haven't drawn it. We flipped it over that last game to a Thought Scour, and we could have K-commanded it back, but we just had like double Gurmag Angler in our hand. So it didn't really matter. So long story short, no idea yet. I guess technically the first time we saw it, it was a threat that we wouldn't have had otherwise. And that's kind of the point of the card, right? 9th threat. Like, do I think it's going to be some game-changing card that we want to fit 2 or 3 of? No. But you kind of never know what the floor of the card's going to be if you don't see it. So, yep. As always, Gurmag Angler's like best threat in the Jund matchup by a mile. So if we can stick one, we're feeling fairly good. Snapcaster is also pretty nice as like Liliana Edict Insurance. They could take the Thought Scour here just to stop us from, like, powering out the Gurmag. Yep. We rip a heater right back. Being on the draw in the Thoughtseize mirrors is really, really nice. So that extra card can often be a game changer. Veil and a Tarmogoyf. Yeah, we just have to take this Goyf. So we've got no active answer for it. Plus, it could mean that they play Raging Ravine this turn, and if we draw into like another Thoughtseize, we can take Veil. Nope. Fair. We're just playing like face down Egon here, right? This is going to start milling us every turn and let us get one of these Gurmags out. We've got a reader. We've got a reader. Opponent, I promise it's not great. Combo. Well, Jeff, I'm glad you got here in time to see us actually play this card. Like, with a hand of double Gurmag Snapcaster, this milling every turn is going to be an all-star, right? Spyro. So, nice part about this Gurmag here is if they do have something like Assassin's Trophy to kill it, they can't kill it plus Veil of Summer. Dogfish missed the first rounds. We got a mountain of snow coming down here in New York. What were our matchups? They're cycling this. Sure. Round 1, we played against Sultai Uro, which that was a horrendous match. Never winning that one in a million years. Round 2, we played against Canister playing the Tybalt's Trickery deck, and we 2-0'd that one in like 3 minutes. So... Spyro pitching another Spyro. I think I want to just go ahead and dismember this. I kind of want to start refilling my graveyard for the second Gurmag. Giving Can the can. I mean, like, we just had normal Shadow hands, and he did have that Retrace Cascade spell. It was kind of rough because we just had, like, Thoughtseize it away plus Cling to Dust it on his upkeep. So he never got a chance to retrace it. Had to cling on his upkeep because he had like a Tybalt's Trickery in hand, and yeah, it was bad. He died while we were sitting there hitting him with a Gurmag with like a Stubborn Denial and an Aether Gust in hand. Alright, what have you got? You've got nothing. Fair. I guess they've got get back tokens with Spyro. Yep. Am I thought seizing or am I just like holding the line? I think I like thought seize because I kind of want to maximize my ability to get to second Gurmag Angler. And I think the best way to do that is just to like start getting cards out of hand. Sure. So you take my Stubborn Denial, Liliana Edict me. I get Snapcaster in, target whatever. Oh no. Not my Snapcaster. Alright, so this is kind of like where we're hoping that Egon exiling creatures is going to start paying off. Yeah, let's go at him. So if I go at Lily, he blocks with the token. So I guess we have to go at Lily. Like, there's no way you let this hit. You're not getting any value off the Lily this turn, but you need to keep me from keeping Gurmags on the board. So go with the full exile so we can use the throne. Say go. So the bright side here is, like, if he drew anything to cast, that means he can't get tokens off the Seasoned Pyromancer. Which means the Liliana could be pretty vulnerable. Like, if he drew a Bloodbraid Elf and he Bloodbraids into, like, Fatal Push, Inquisition, Thoughtseize, something like that, then the Liliana is likely just going to die. Valky. So we've got a battle of the gods, you say. So Fatal Push would be like best draw. Fatal Push, K Command. I think K Command would actually be best draw. Because we could swing both Gurmags at Liliana. Like, that's going to work. But K Command, we could swing both Gurmags at Liliana. He gets back the Seasoned Pyromancer tokens. Or we could swing both at him. K Command on his upkeep. Make him discard. Alright. So I am going to swing both of these at Liliana and drown one of the Seasoned Pyromancer tokens. Like, I think we have a really difficult time losing if we just have both Gurmag Anglers on the board. So, like, now there's no reason to block the Gurmag Angler, but we had to do that before blocks. Why? Like, you're literally just throwing that token away. All right. Yeah, Egon looked solid that match. Like, what would we have had in place of that Egon? It would have either been another fatal push, a main deck K command, or what? Push K command. Push K command, another cling, something like a Serum Visions. I'm not a huge fan of 3 Snapcasters. It usually feels overboard and I get Snapcaster flooded a lot. Like, the first one's got a ton of value. Every subsequent one, I think it's kind of eh. Egon just backed up the Budweiser truck on that boomer. Maybe that's what our next emote needs to be, is Egon just, like, with a Budweiser hat. He looks like he prefers a craft more than a cold American beer. Like, look at the hair. He's obviously a hipster, right? He's obviously coming into a bar and complaining that his IPA is not hoppy enough. If he can't taste the bitter hints of coriander on his tongue, Egon don't want it. At least that's what I see. Maybe I'm wrong. It may be that the Thurn is better against control, like the round 1 Soul Tide, drawing 2 to 3 cards over the course of the game might be better than being a threat itself. Could be. But I think, like, that game against Soul Tide, when we had Egon plus a Stubborn Denial, and we knew they only had one piece of interaction in their hand, I think it was better to play it as a threat. They can destroy it with K command. But that means they're using a K command to blow up an Egon and not, like, make us discard, get back a Tarmogoyf. Is it just me or is the showcase Egon a little kid? Let's find out. Yeah. Egon, God of Death. Compared to the normal one, I would say maybe. Is this like teenage Egon? It's like awkward puberty Egon. This Egon telling his parents it's not just a phase, it's a way of life. Doesn't Egon's quote and lore talk about him aging backwards or something? Apparently it does. Egon ages backwards, his wisdom soured by youthful spite. So it would make sense that the showcase Egon is a kid. Good call. Good call. We can be 2-copy main deck Egon. I don't know if he's good enough for 2 copies. Like, he's not bad. But I don't think he does anything, like, so powerful. We really want that spot to be either a way to find a threat or an actual threat. So if it's not Egon, if we determine it's like not strong enough, then I'd rather it be like a Serum Visions or something. We're still just waiting on that extra extra shadow threat that we can proactively play out without having to play aggressive 1-drops before anybody starts making suggestions. Teenage Mutant Egon Turtle. What if his scythe was just like a big slice of pizza? Just like right across the front, just pizza. Let's see. Man, I would love to see an Egon, Luris, Snapcaster, Shadow, Unearthed list now. Let's see. So if we went... What's the closest we've got to that? Is Unearth is CMC 3 or less. You bring it back, right? So let's say you took a list like this. We'll open a new copy. Cut Garmag. Cut Wraith. Cut Right of Consumption, unfortunately. Add a Luris to the board. Cutting something, doesn't really matter. Whatever. Just that part's not important. Add Egon. Unearth. Is preliminary starting already? No. We're busy brewing bad Magic decks. Hold on. Hold on. Oh, you're right. You can't have Luris with Egon. But you can just have Luris in the deck, right? Still just like a good unearthed target. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. Alright. Keep it. Throwback second Shadow. Wish Egon was a flip land. What if it was 3 modes, like Egon, the artifact, or a land? That'd be pretty sweet. I don't know how you would do that in paper outside of having like a little trifold magic card in a sleeve, but it'd be cool. Those cards come next year. Give it like... let's see. Give Magic like 3 years. And you're going to see people just like pulling a card out of their sleeve like Alright, which copy is it? Is it that copy? Is it that copy? Is it this copy? Is it over here? You don't know. It's all of them. Every single copy together. Origami. I just set my deck down on the table. It's a little crane. This is what I'm playing. It's a Luris. Is this burn? No, hammer time. Stop. Hammer time. Bum, 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 bum. So I was not countering the hammer there because I need lands. I need to get Gurmag online. This is a board game where you draft pieces of cards and combine them into actual cards. Can't remember the name. I have not heard of that, but it sounds pretty sweet. Now, if he plays a second hammer here, we're countering it for sure. Stub is like a land, only a stub. Now, I think it's just a QR code on a card, and you have to scan it with your smartphone and can choose what it should be out of 100 options. So your commander deck is just going to be like one card, and you just scan it every time you want to do something. Like, yeah, I'm going to Thoughtseize this turn. Next turn, I'm going to Thought Scour myself and play a Gurmag Angler. Fetch land off the top, please. Alright. So that does mean we can counter a Pure Steel Paladin. Gonna put Luris in. Yes. Alright. Fetch land. So close. We're fine. Kind of. Fetch land. So close. So very, very close. We could have played out Egon earlier if we'd seen our our second land on curve. Yeah, you got an infect. But it's okay, because we're going to see a fetch land right here. Never didn't have it. Never didn't have it. I don't know why y'all are doubting me. Right on time. Magnetic theft. Sure. I'm kind of down to just let them hit me with this Memnite and get a really big shadow online. For a moment, I thought opponent maybe Tybalt trickery your spell. That would have sucked. No blocks. Like, I know we're going to draw into another fetch land, but... Yep. Alright, so I'm swinging with Gurmag Angler this turn so that both of my shadows are lethal threats next turn. Yep. Zero mana, 11/11, no chance against 1 mana, 12/12. I mean, if he Galv Blasts, he Galv Blasts. Like, I can't play around it. I spent so many turns not doing anything relevant that is the risk I take. +1/+1, trample, lifelink. Right. Counter that so he can't trade with a shadow. Like, he could have a follow-up. So I think this has to be a removal spell. See, doesn't Blink Moth have flying? Yes, Blink Moth does have flying. So bobble them because whatever's on top of my library doesn't matter. Like, it's either something that can stop this or it's not. So whether I know about the card or not doesn't change what it is or if I can do anything with it. So they protection the Memnite and attack, and I'm dead. But if I've got a removal spell, then I kind of completely blow them out. So there's a chance maybe they don't protection the Memnite and just attack. Remember that time we baited our opponent out of a protected attack? Pepperidge Farm remembers. Alright, what's our plan here? Let's say we attack with both. They block Ornithopter on one, Ink Moth on one, give protection. Like, if I attack with just one shadow, he blocks and gives protection with Giver. And I'm not advancing the game any. If I attack with both shadows, he has to protect one and the other dies. Yeah, it's definitely attack with both. Yep. Lets them both go. Oh, man. That game should not have gone that way. For anybody wondering from the sidelines. We were very, very lucky that our bluff paid off. They seemed to commit to playing around removal too much, but you kept representing it well. I did think we at least bluffed it pretty okay. But I also think, like, there's probably times where if you have the removal, you just go to attacks and swing. Was this the famous Mississippi split? I wish. This split my opponent actually went along with. Usually the Mississippi split, my opponents are like, that sounds too complicated. We're gonna not do that. So for anybody in chat who has not heard of the Mississippi split, it's a way of rolling dice. If I have some, I can demonstrate. All right. So you take your dice, 5 dice. It's hard to show with a camera. So you take your 5 dice, you roll them. I'm just gonna show them up here randomly. So mix them up. You roll them, and let's say we rolled this. So a 2, a 4, a 3, and 2 5s. You would take all of the odd numbers and remove them from the pool. So like the 3 and the 2 5s just removed from the pool. You're left with the 2 and 4. You add them up. So your total for your roll is 6. Both players roll. The lowest remaining number wins. So we rolled a 6. If our opponent rolls less than a 6, they win the die roll. If they roll more, we win. I got shown it at an event, and I was super excited about it because it said Mississippi in the name. I was like, we don't get a lot of things here outside of being the state used when counting when you're young, and the fact that we have a river. See, they misused Giver, but you were in a good situation representing. It's what Shadow does sometimes. That is fair. Like, Shadow does usually put just a lot of pressure on your opponents. Alright, so I think this is a pretty easy keep. We've got Hand Disruption. We've got Removal Spell. K-Command's great in the matchup. We've got a Shadow. Third land means we can snap Thoughtseize. Means we can K-Command. Yes. You may Soul Guide. And this can only hit your opponents, right? Yeah. So they can't, like, Soul Guide themselves in response to a Drown in the Lock. Pure Steel, Memnite, Stoneforge. So let's take Stoneforge and say go. Take out their ability to search up for a, what's it called? Colossus Hammer. So second card in the yard means we can drown and lock this, what's it called? Pure Steel Paladin. Words are tough, you know? Alright, go ahead. Our hand is pretty gas. Not gonna lie. Yep. Ideally, I would like to save this Drown and Lock to counter Luris. Alright. I'm going to sit on Drown here. I could Inquisition and try to take, like, Luris or Pure Steel. But I think I'm going to try to drown one of them and Inquisition away the other. That one's pretty annoying. I'm going to counter it because I have K command. Land off the top, please. I guess I should have specified. When I said countering it because I have K command, I meant countering it because I've got answers to like Pure Steel plus whatever equipment they get in off Pure Steel. Now, if one of their blind draws was another hammer, that would be pretty unfortunate. so if they had a hammer, they would have just killed me last turn. So am I supposed to just K return right here? I think so. I was gonna say, if they slow rolled like a what's it called? God, the spear, shadow spear. That would have sucked. Still just need another land, right? Like one more land and we're kind of golden. We got there. Let's see if the coast is clear. Response will K command, kill the paladin, get back Snapcaster. All right. All right, so let's see. Questions. We just send in the shadow, hold all of our instant speed stuff. Well, the problem is, like, all of our instant speed stuff, if we wanted to get full value, like, if they drew Colossus Hammer and they played Hammer, and we responded with Kozilek's Return, like, that's obviously best case scenario. But if they have, like, Artifact, go to, like, let's say Mishra's Bauble, go to equip Hammer onto, like, Memnite. We respond by K command, and they respond by, like, flashing in a Hammer. We get so blown out. Like, not even funny how bad we get blown out there. So just, like, going ahead and trying to wipe everything so that we play around them having Metalcraft to equip with the Paladin is good. And since they didn't equip anything, like, we're kind of expecting them to not have anything. Why not just kill an upkeep? Because I wanted... Or do you mean... When we K returned, why didn't I just kill on their upkeep? Because I wanted to get the attack in with the shadow. Like, if they had an answer, they had an answer. But I'd rather find out on my turn so I can get the attack in there. Let's see. Otek, this is the list. We're 3-1 in the preliminary. The notable test inclusions were Saw It Coming and Egon. I don't think either one was necessarily impressive. Egon more so. We did have a match against Jund that Egon was really sweet in. But for the most part, it was eh. Like, it's kind of cool as a utility piece, but I don't think it just, like, straight replaces anything. So it's kind of like if you have the flex spot and you want to change it. Is Saw It Coming significantly better than Prohibit or Drown in the Lock? So the idea behind Saw It Coming was the flexibility of being able to have like a 2-mana counter spell when you need it that also hits creatures, which Stubborn Denial can't. It's unconditional. Like most of the other counterspell options we've played or tried out have all been conditional. But this, if you foretell, is just like 2-mana unconditional. So my thought was a curve out, including Saw It Coming, could involve like turn 1 Thoughtseize, turn 2 Foretell, or turn 1 Thoughtseize, turn 2 Threat, turn 3 Foretell plus hold up either like Second Hand Disruption or Stubborn Denial, and then from that point on just have the unconditional counterspell. But like it loses pretty heavily to your opponent just being more proactive. So I think especially in the main deck, like Drown in the Lock being a removal spell when you need it is probably better than something like Saw It Coming in that slot. Cool plan. Like, I like the thought of it. I think in reality, you're trying to use all of your mana a lot more aggressively than that. So, like, there's not a lot of matchups where you can have turn 1 Hand Disruption, take 2 or turn 2 off to foretell, and then if I'm not foretelling it on turn 2, if I miss a land drop, I'm not foretelling it on turn 3. If I hit my land drop, I found myself more often wanting to, like, Thought Scour to dig for more Stubborn Denials or Hand Disruption, plus play a threat on turn 3, or something like that, like threat plus hold up removal. And so the taking 2 mana off in the first like 3 turns of the game wasn't coming up. What's my opinion on Scourge of the Skyclaves and Grixis? Well, fortunately, I've got a command for that. I always have to give my, what's it called? My cover my butt speech. When I say I've got a command for it, and I'm going to share the command, don't think of this as being like passive aggressive or anything like that. It's simply like I've had the question asked a lot, so I wrote down my thoughts and decided to share it. If you read it and it makes sense, awesome. If you have any questions about it, I'm more than happy to answer any questions. It is absolutely an open for discussion point. Alright. I guess we can crack some chests. Chromatic Lantern. Ugh. Commander All-Star. Mind Lock Orb. Now we're talking. Not even Pure Steel Paladin. We get the bad Paladin. Goblin Pile Driver. Where's Guy when you need him? Alright, so let's see. There's another preliminary in 5 hours. I might, like, go get lunch, do normal work stuff, and then come back and stream that one as well. I'd say that could probably be 2 fun, or be fun, like a split up stream. So I think that's what I'm gonna plan. I guess we will send everybody over. Yeah, we'll send everybody over to Allie Warfield, who's playing some modern Jund. So hope everybody sticks around, share some love from the chat. Thanks everybody for coming to check out this preliminary this morning. Again, we're probably going to play the second one in like 5 hours. So we'll be back for that. I guess a counter question. How do you feel about Grixis versus Rakdos Shadow, where they have Shadow and Scourge? I think Grixis is favored, not by a lot, but I like Grixis' position in the meta game right now with all of like these Tybalt Trickery decks, Ad Nauseum, Charbelcher, like all the combo decks. I think Grixis has a much better matchup against those than Rakdos does. So if you're wanting to play the meta game, I think Grixis is a little better positioned right now. You lose points against Uro by not having Blood Moon, but you pick up points with Stubborn Denial. And I think you're picking up more points with Stub and Snapcaster than you're losing with Blood Moon. Alright, so I'm going to go get lunch. Everybody have a great rest of your day. If I catch you later, then we'll see you then. Yeah, see you then.